Thank you again for joining us here today. I want to tell you a little bit about all of us. We are a very small but mighty team. We have seven speech pathologists, me being one, Emily being another, and you will find many more of our speech pathologists will be, as well as our team, will be helping to answer any questions that you may have in the chat. So if you do have questions during, you're welcome to put them in the chat and we will be happy to help answer that, or we may save it for the very end as well. Also, if you are here for professional development as a speech pathologist or OT or even ATP, please remember to stay to the end and we'll be dropping the link for that in the very end. All right. So here's our impact. Again, we have a very small team, but we have accomplished a lot since our inception in 2019. We've assisted over 5,300 people with ALS in all 50 states and in 48 countries. And this number just continues to increase. But here's the most important thing for everyone to know that all of our services are always free. So reach out. We are here to help. And let me tell you about our services. So, we do a lot of things other than just mobile communication apps. So, we assist people with guiding clients to the right tools. And one of those tools may, in fact, be a mobile communication app. We also provide training and one on one tech support, as well as with app adaptions, as well as any innovations that you might see. We have a lot of wonderful innovations, and you are welcome to review our YouTube channel to see some of our great innovations that we just recently presented on. So we build custom innovation, and then we also focus a lot on training and education. This happens to be one of them.
All right.
All right. So now I get the opportunity to hand over this presentation to Emily. This is going to be absolutely fabulous. I cannot wait for you guys to see. And again, remember,
Did I sit you up a little? I did. Put this.
remember to stay with us to the very end. We will make sure you have all of the links and the attendance if you need it. Emily, take over. I can't wait for the presentation.
All right, guys. Well, I am so excited to be with everyone today. Thank you for joining. As Trinity mentioned, we're going to talk about how to choose and use mobile communication apps. So here's our agenda. First, we're going to start off by talking about where does a communication app fall in the ALS journey? And then we'll go into why to consider multiple apps. And then we'll talk a little bit about what those considerations are. We'll do a comparison looking at different features across different apps. And then I'm going to do a demonstration of just two apps, even though there are many, many great ones out there. We only have time for two. And then we'll have time for questions and discussions. Okay, so where does the communication app fall in the journey with ALS? I know very frequently at ALS Clinic, it's discussed about eye gaze speech generating devices. But a communication app is a very important tool that may or may not be mentioned too often. And it's really a good piece along in your journey that might be used at some points. So one of those points is if your speech is unintelligible only in certain environments. So this could be most of the day you're speaking verbally and it's no difficulties being understood. But for example, if you go to a restaurant or if you're going to a baseball game, maybe because of the background noise and environmental noise, it's a little bit more difficult to be understood. That's a situation where you would use the communication app only for part of the day. Another option is if your speech is intelligible, but it changes with fatigue. So we very often hear how throughout the day, maybe it gets a little bit more difficult to be understood or a little bit more effortful to speak towards the end of the day. That might be another time where I'm going to speak most of the day, but then when I get really tired, to save that energy, I'm going to instead use this communication app. Another one is if someone has no functional speech, but they can still use their hands and they may be walking. This is a point where I've seen someone maybe receive a larger eye gaze dedicated device instead. But if someone's still very mobile and they can still use their hands very easily, then having something on your phone or tablet might actually be easier and more efficient for you to use rather than a larger communication device. And then finally, maybe you're just interested in learning about the app. Maybe you've completed voice banking or voice cloning and you want to test it out and see how your voice sounds, but you don't really need the app yet. And it's okay because you just want to get comfortable with something you might have to use in the future. So first, we're going to hear from Miss Beth. Miss Beth falls in the category where she really isn't really able to communicate verbally very easily at all. It's very effortful. So she uses this app for the majority of the day. She's still so mobile and she goes out in the community very often. So having something on her phone and tablet actually works a lot better. So I'm going to let her talk about how she uses the app.
I'm Beth Bush, and I have been diagnosed with bulbar palsy, a rare form of ALS. I am 74 years old and a retiree's registered nurse with a bachelor's degree in nursing. I worked in community health nursing for 35 years. I use my speech assistant app usually for a one-on-one conversation or to make a comment to a group of people. I also use it for blessings. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, we thank you for your blessings and for this food which we are about to eat. Please be with those who are ill, especially Mike. Thank you for Ken, whom I love, and for all he is doing for me. Please encourage Ken to rest and take care of himself. I thank you for all my friends and family who are support me through this journey. This we ask in Jesus Christ, your Son's name. Amen.
So Ms. Beth also shared how she uses it to give a speech for her choir community. So this is another example of she's still so active in the community and needs a device that matches that lifestyle for her.
Prepared for you, right?
I have sung in the choir since I was a teenager. I just took the ability to speak and to sing for granted. About 2 years ago, when I began to experience the slurred speech, I never expected not to be able to speak or sing. After speech therapy, numerous tests, and being seen by numerous specialists, I was devastated when received my diagnosis, bulbar palsy, a rare form of ALS. My husband Ken has been there with me through all of us, and Ken is my anchor, as is God. Carolyn Cutler was so wonderful and supportive and allowed me to continue in the choir these past 2 years. This experience with Carolyn, their support and love to me has been what has helped me learn to cope with my diagnosis. Also, the support of Reverend Patrick Collins, Deacons Kelsey Spiker and Michael Valiant, the attendees of the healing service and Bible studies and handbell choir, and all the church members have been instruments of God's way of helping me to learn to cope with this life-changing event. God also brought Father Brad Anderson and Carol Anderson into my life by way of the healing service. Also, Susie Van Emberg, who I met when I was a member of the Food Ministry Delivery, has been a true friend and sister in Jesus Christ. Also, the Women's Faith and Fellowship Group coordinators, Vanita Southworth and Elena Jones. I can't thank everyone for all their prayers and support. I continue to be blessed to be able to continue to play handbells, to receive continued support of the members. I want to thank all of you for your prayers, love, and support.
And Ms. Beth also was unable to voice bank prior to losing her voice, but she did have a video from her giving a speech at a wedding, and we were able to use that audio to create the voice that you hear on her app.
Prepared for you.
Okay, so this next individual doesn't need to use the app yet. She still communicates verbally. So the app for her is more of a way to learn how to use something before needing it, and then also show the voice that she created to her family and friends. Okay, so how do you use a communication app, and why did you download it in the first place?
I downloaded just in case I needed it someday. So I'm going to come closer to needing it, as you can see. People, my friends understand me, and my husband does, and my kids do, but soon no one will understand me. So I'm gonna get prepared for that day. Okay. I know the app is a toy for showing my friends.
So why consider multiple apps? Why don't we just tell you, here's one app to use and everyone use it? As you can see, there's so many apps out there, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are more apps coming out every single day. And they all do a very similar thing. You type into them and they can communicate out loud what you typed, which is wonderful. But they all have different features that make them either easier or more challenging for someone to use. So it's super important to know what needs to be considered when you're looking for an app, or when you're looking for helping your client look for an app, and what needs to be considered for that time to make sure that that app is right for them. Just like you would look at a lot of different speech generating devices when doing an evaluation, looking at different apps can really make sure that you're finding the one that will help you communicate best. Okay, so what are those considerations? I'm going to show you two charts, and it might be a little bit overwhelming, but like Trinity said, this is going to be available afterwards. So no need to write anything down, and no need to feel like you have to see it all at once. Okay, so let's start with communication needs assessment. This is typically where I begin when I'm trying to see what app might be best for someone or help them decide what might be best. It's really important to get to know what situations they communicate in, and just get to know more about them. So who are their communication partners? Is it typically someone they're speaking with face-to-face in their environment? Or are they doing a lot of FaceTime and phone calls? Are they going out into the community often, like we saw with Miss Beth? And then what types of dialogue? Are they still giving presentations? Are they a professor that needs to speak to a class? All of this would actually affect like what features I'm looking for when doing a app evaluation. Speech settings is something we're going to talk about in a few slides in a little bit more detail, so I'm going to skip over that for now. Language is incredibly important. So is someone bilingual, multilingual? What language do they need for that keyboard? And does the app have a keyboard and a voice for that language? And then if it does, how easy is it to switch between languages? So someone can easily choose what language they want to speak with and do that very quickly. Sensory needs. So do they have any vision accommodations that they need? Do they need high contrast letters or larger letters to make it easier for them to see? Another one that I didn't really think about too often until I came across it is hearing accommodations. If someone has a hearing aid, there's really only like one or two apps that I know of that has the feature that will send the speech directly out of the phone. So for example, if someone's using a hearing aid, they want to be able to hear YouTube videos or phone calls through the hearing aid, but their speech is going to have to go through the app. So you would need to make sure that there's a feature in that app to make sure that that works for them. And then what platform do they use, iOS or Android? As of now, Android doesn't support the feature to send speech directly through the phone when someone's making a phone call. So that's just something good to consider whenever you're looking at apps for them. And then also, if someone's using a phone and a tablet, how easy is it to sync their phrases and categories from the phone to the tablet? You don't want to have to do all of that manually unless that's the right app for them, and then you just do. Cost and free trial. So we actually have on our handout how much the apps cost. But again, this probably changes very frequently, as does like all of this information in these features. So it's just something that you would have to look at. And we're going to talk about options and ways to get these apps. There are a lot of organizations that can help with this. Rate enhancement features is something we're going to go into more detail in a few slides, so I'll wait to talk about that. Access needs and touch accommodations. So, touch accommodations refers to like how easy is it for someone to access the entire screen with their hands? Do you need to be able to customize how that screen looks so that it's easier for them to select certain locations? Is there built-in head tracking or eye tracking available for the app? And is that something that they're interested in or need? Voice options is something we'll talk about in about 2 slides, so we'll skip over that one. And then additional tools needed. Would they benefit from using a stylus or mounting the iPad or the Android tablet in front of them so they don't have to like look down the whole time? Bluetooth speaker. So if they go out into the environment, into louder environments often, then you would want to make sure to have some sort of portable Bluetooth speaker with them so that it's not only relying on the phone's audio, but it can be a lot louder. Okay, so this also might look overwhelming, but this is something that Trinity is going to drop the link and you'll have the handout for after. Today, we're only going to go over these 3 features in more detail. One of the most important things, in my opinion, is voice options. If someone did voice banking or voice cloning and they went through all the effort to save their voice, then you want to make sure that the app you're choosing or they're choosing supports that voice option. It's compatible with how they bank their voice. And then also, if someone banked 50 messages or 500 messages, how easy is it to import those banked messages and keep them organized under the categories that they created? So this video shows you some of the voice options across different apps. Right now I'm in the app dialog, and you can easily go to settings and select your voice. And right now I'm going to do Apple Personal Voice.
This is a test of the current speech settings.
Okay, this one's Proloquo for text. And they also just have it in their settings
Hello,
right
my
there.
name is Emily's Personal Voice 1. Why not try me out with your own words?
So you can hear how the same voice sounds different across different apps, which is interesting. Also, it's not only compatible with Apple Personal Voice, that's just the one that I'm showing you right now. The handout that we're sharing shows you all the compatibility of voices with the different apps. Okay. And now this is Grid for iPad. And I'm showing you how easy it is to download your banked messages. So once they're downloaded, you'll just go straight back to the communication app, go to topics, and they're all stored right there in message banking. Okay, and finally, predictable. For this one, I'm showing you how to connect your 11 Labs voice with your predictable app. Okay. So rate enhancement features. Whenever you're speaking, typical speech is around 180 words per minute to 280 words per minute. It's relatively quick, and sometimes I can be even quicker than that because I'm a fast talker. But when you're moving to something like a communication app, it's going to significantly slow down your speech and your rate of speech. And because of that, a lot of apps build in these rate enhancement features, which are ways to increase how quickly you can type. Word prediction is a pretty basic one that you probably already use in your texting. Phrase prediction is similar, but it predicts a whole phrase. A search feature is a very good option whenever someone has a lot of categories and a lot of phrases. Instead of searching for that phrase that they already typed out manually, they can just click the search button and type in a keyword and it'll pull it up. You're going to see abbreviated expansion in just a second in the video, and then as well as categories and subcategories. So in Proloquo for text, I'm showing you how I'm typing one letter and I'm selecting the words already pretty easily.
Do you want to go to the park?
So instead of typing out the whole phrase, I was able to just select words and it was a lot quicker. This is Grid for iPad. And you can see how I just typed out 2 words and it pulled up the whole phrase that I wanted. This is TD Snap, and I'm using that search feature where I type in the keyword news, and then it pulls up all the phrases.
Did you hear the news? This is what we are doing today.
It pulls up a lot of different phrases that I can select from. And then finally, abbreviated expansion within Predictable. So I'm going to add the abbreviation that I want to type out. And then I'll type out the whole phrase that I wanted to expand to. And I'll save it and go back to the keyboard. And now all I have to do is type DSO.
I would love to do something outside.
And you can see how it expands to the entire sentence.
How was your day? Let's take the dogs for a walk.
So within Speech Assistant, you can see the categories are on the right-hand side, and I'm clicking between categories, but then I'm able to actually categorize even more with a subcategory, and that's what I'm showing you here.
Do you want to go on the swing? What do you want to do this afternoon? Let's go get ice cream.
Okay. And finally, speech settings. So speech settings refers to how well the app will let you adjust like the prosody of your speech or adding pauses into your speech. So for example, if someone loves to do longer dialogues like presentations still, and they really need to add and adjust how much pauses between paragraphs or between sentences, this is a feature that I would rely heavily on when trying to decide which app might be best for them. And I'm going to show you a few of those speech settings across apps. So Speech Assistant has a unique one called pause tags. With pause tags, you can turn on the feature, and then you can select how long you want the pause between P1 and P5. And you'll actually just add that lettering P1, P2, P3, or P5 within the paragraph. And it will adjust how long it pauses. So right here, I'm going to type P2. And then I'm going to add P5 here so that you can hear the difference in pause length.
I am showing you an example of how to adjust the timing between sentences and paragraphs. This app is using my 11 Labs voice to speak. I can add pause tags to add even more of a pause in my speech. Did you hear the change in length of pause?
Okay, and so this is a feature within Predictable where you can adjust which sentence you wanted to speak based on where you place the cursor. So instead of speaking from start to ending, you would place your cursor in the sentence you wanted to speak, click speak, and it only speaks at one sentence. There's so many other adjustments that you can make, but this is just the one.
When you're making a long speech, you may want to adjust where you will start and stop speech. You can adjust the speech settings so it's easy to decide what sentence you would like to speak out. For example, maybe I want to start from the end of the last sentence, or I want to start in this sentence.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to do the demonstration of Speech Assistant. It is a quick demonstration and maybe not too quick because it's about 7 minutes long, but I say quick because this still does not show all the many features that Speech Assistant has to offer. So we'll go ahead and get started. So first I'm going to start off by showing you the message window. You click in the message window and it pulls up the keyboard, and then you'll use the keyboard to type out your message. You can see that it has word prediction that it pulls up. And then when I'm done, I'm going to select the blue speaker in the top right corner.
This is how I type.
I'll click at the bottom right corner, that keyboard with the down arrow, to put the keyboard back down. The other way to do this is to just click the keyboard and the action buttons, and it also pulls it up for you. Okay, so now let's say, what if you make a mistake? So the first thing you could do is just backspace a letter using the delete key. You could backspace a whole word by using the blue arrow, or delete everything with the red arrow. Okay.
How was your day?
So now I'm showing you the tabs at the top, which is actually a really cool and a unique feature with Speech Assistant. You can start typing out a long sentence and a long message. And then let's say that someone walks up and asks you a question, but you don't want to delete your message to answer them. You would just jump to a new tab, type out your message to answer them.
Soup, please.
And then jump back to the tab that you were working on and continue your message. It's very similar to natural conversation, where you are often talking to more than one communication partner at a time and having multiple conversations at a time. Okay, so now we're going to look at the action buttons. This one expands your speech. So again, if you are in an environment
How was
where
your
it's
day?
hard for someone to hear the app or hear you, you can click that expand speech feature, and it just makes your message full screen. So then you could just turn your phone around and show it to them. The plus sign I'm going to talk a little bit more about later. The settings gear brings you to your settings, which has so many features in there for you to look at. This green bell is the alarm in case you need something. And then the share actually allows you to share as an email or text message. So maybe it's easier for you to type in Speech Assistant and you want to just share from here. Okay, now I'm going to show you, let's say someone is bilingual and they want to have multiple users. You can easily add the user right there. And I'll show you even in the settings where you go to categories and phrases. And then at the top, it allows you to create more than one user profile. Another option is if not just if someone's bilingual, but let's say someone has two cloned voices, and one voice is from their professional speaking voice and one is more of their conversational speaking voice. You could also use that to create different user profiles here. Okay, so I switched it to German, and I'm going to switch it back to default. The double arrows going opposite ways is a drag and drop feature, so just an easy customization if you want to adjust where your phrases are. And then you saw the search feature
Let's
earlier.
take the dogs for a walk.
You can also do search within Speech Assistant. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to add different phrases. You can click the category that you want to save under, type out your phrase, and then easily just save it right there on the screen. Another option is by clicking the plus sign, saying new phrase, typing out your phrase, and then saving it that way. And then finally, you can also add phrases through settings. Oh. Or you can add categories here too. Okay, so now in settings, if you want to add a lot of phrases at once, you would click the category, click the double plus sign, and then add the phrases as you go. Okay, and now I'll show
I'm
you.
so happy your interview went well. You want
Now let's say you want to adjust the layout. So this is when if someone has vision accommodation needs, you can adjust the colors, you can adjust the text size. There are a lot of adjustments that you can make. Or if it's harder for them to get to the right side of the screen, you can adjust the action buttons to be on the left-hand side. You can fully customize what action buttons are on the screen. Lots of features to go through in here. And you can see how now it looks very different. Okay, so now we're going to go to predictable. So predictable, you will be able to see from the very beginning, it's set up a little bit different. So with predictable, the keyboard always stays up. And so you don't have to continue to pull it up when you want to type a message, but you don't have categories and phrases on this same page. So we're going to go into how to get to the categories and phrases in just a second. So first, again, I'm going to show you, it's pretty easy to just go ahead and select the voice that you banked or cloned. They have different options, or if you didn't do either, you could always use the standard voice. You can adjust the speaking rate. So if you feel like it's a little bit slower than how you typically speak, you can adjust that rate in the app. So on the right-hand side, you see the blue buttons. These are your favorites. So it does have your favorite phrases at the top, and that's
we are happy to see you.
That's fully customizable for whichever you choose to be your favorite phrases. On the left-hand side is a history of what you've recently spoken. You can use the trash cans to delete one word or the entire message. You'll see the keyboard with the word prediction above. And this keyboard is a little bit larger with a larger word predictions as well. And the keyboard's very, very customizable. So you can adjust it to high contrast or whatever needs your client or you might have.
This is the word prediction.
Okay, so now I'm going to go into these additional features. All of these features can also be added to this yellow area on the top right. So you can choose which ones you want to show. So maybe you use ChatGPT very often and you would want that to be easier to get to. That is something that you can add to make it easier. You see that it's easy to adjust the multi-language. So this one you can easily jump from language to language as well. This has that pause tags that Speech Assistant had as well. The only difference is this feature is not working with 11 Labs just yet.
This is the word prediction to the test.
So if I would have had my acapella or Apple Personal Voice, it would have worked with that one. Dual message window is if you're speaking with a communication partner, it's a way to show them what you're speaking while you can also see what you're typing.
Please bear with me while I use predictable to speak.
And so floor hold is kind of similar to the tabs, where if someone walks up and asks you a question, you can press the floor hold and let them know that you're typing something and working on something. That way you don't have to delete your message. But it doesn't give you the option right here to also type out, just in a different message window. This is customized for eye gaze, so you can adjust the dwell right here, as well as head tracking. So this is cool because I often get asked, like, I still like to write. Is there a way to write to speak instead? And this does give you the option to write out your message, and then it converts it to text. Okay, and the other one that's really fun is the emojis. So you can click the laugh and it will laugh for you. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to get to those categories and phrases. This comes pre-programmed like a lot of apps do, with many categories and phrases that you can have. But let's say you don't want any of those, you can also click like start from scratch. What I did was import all of my banked messages. So it created the categories based on how I tagged my messages.
Have you ever thought about trying scuba diving?
You can also easily add new categories and phrases. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So I'll click add category, type out the label, which I wasn't being very creative. I just came up with an example. And then you'll get out of edit mode. But you can also reorganize if you want to drag and drop these as well. So you get out of edit mode, and then you type out your phrase. And then save your phrase. Okay. So those were very, very quick, not quick demos of the apps. There are a lot more features available, and most apps actually have manuals that you can go in and see everything that's available for them. Those are usually free online. So if you want to look at that before getting the app, you can go to the website and get those. So how can I get this app? You could always purchase it outright from the App Store, but there are a lot of options for receiving this app as a gift or a donation. So you can go to different ALS nonprofits, such as ALS United or ALS Association, and sometimes they'll gift you the app. Team Gleason also gifts apps, and sometimes if you need a tablet as well, they can provide that. You could look at other grants, or a lot of states have telecommunication access programs. And then lots of these apps have a free trial option. And in the handout, it does say which apps have a free trial available. And so here's just a quick recap. A communication app is an appropriate recommendation during a lot of points of an individual's journey with ALS. The eval and consideration of various apps is super important to selecting the most appropriate one for you. The app that's right for someone else may not be the one that will meet all of your needs. Look into option for receiving the app. You may be able to complete a free trial or receive the app as a gift from a nonprofit or through a grant. And that's it for today. Trinity, I'll let you take back over.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Emily. I know we only covered 2 out of the amazing number of apps that Emily has included in the handout. And in fact, there are some questions about some other apps. I wish we had time for Emily to go through all of the apps out there because there are a lot of really, really good ones. But unfortunately, we just don't have time to be able to go through all of that. If you have ALS and you feel like you do need some support in terms of, finding that right app for you, please consider reaching out to your ALS nonprofit partner or even scheduling an appointment with us so that we can walk you through again, helping you match those features. Here's another option for you also too, if you have questions about apps, is that every Tuesday, 4:30 Eastern Time, today happens to be Tuesday, we have open office hours. You can bring your questions about apps, about anything that you may be facing technology-wise, to our open office hours, and there you will find a couple of our team members, as well as our Bridging Voice ambassadors, who are individuals living with ALS that can answer questions for you and help kind of get you steered in the right direction. Go ahead and switch to our next slide, Emily. There we go. All right. Perfect. We're going to answer these questions that are coming in the chat here in just a second. All right. So usually we have trainings once a month. We are done for trainings on Zoom until February, but our team has a lot of great trainings and presentations coming up. We will be at ASHA in November with the American Speech Hearing Association. We will be at the MND Alliance in Toronto. And we will be at ATIA in January in Florida. So if you are going to attend one of those, please consider coming to join us. We have a lot of different presentations going on. And information about these presentations will be on our social media. So don't forget to follow us on social media so you can get some of this information as well. Next slide. As always, we have recorded trainings and we have a lot of recorded trainings and they are all on our YouTube channel. And again, at the end of this presentation, you're going to get an email if you signed up for our presentation. You're going to get an email with a link to our YouTube site, which is where this presentation will be. Great thing about subscribing to our YouTube channel is not only do you get the presentations, but all of the resources that go along with each of the presentations are there as well. So you will always have access to kind of come back to them, which is the best way to go. All right. And lastly, professional development. If you are here for professional development, please go ahead and I'm going to drop the link in to the chat right now. Please fill out the attestation to say that you stayed, and please stay all the way to the top of the hour and through Q&A because we always learn a ton during Q&A. And Emily, thank you for your presentation today because as you and I were going through this, I learned some things about these apps that I recommend all the time. So that was fabulous. All right, go ahead and advance the slide for us. Perfect. And a lot of you know, and if you don't know, let me make sure that you know, all of our services are free. So how you can support our work in the future, you can, of course, make a donation. You can always share a testimonial if something we have done have helped you or support you. You can donate equipment and you can start a Facebook fundraiser to kind of get your community involved as well for fundraising. And please be on the lookout out because Giving Tuesday is coming up, which will be December 2nd, I believe. And that is a great time for you to start thinking about how you could possibly support our work and support for ALS. All right. So just a quick thank you here. You are always welcome to reach out to us. info@bridgingvoice.org. If you have a direct question for Emily, Emily is emily@bridgingvoice.org. And now I think we are ready for Q&A. So during Q&A, please feel free to interact with us in whatever communication method is best for you. You are welcome to put that you can put information into the chat. We will go ahead and read that out loud for you, or you can take yourself off mute and ask your question live. Emily is here. I am here. Many of our team members are here, so we are here to help answer your question, as well as we have many professionals that are also with us that can share, as well as people who are living with ALS can also share their input as well. All right, Emily, would you like to stop your share? Perfect. Let's go back and grab some from our chat. Hey. Where can I find the PDF with all of the options? I'm assuming that you are referring to Emily's app guide. I dropped the link into the chat, but then you will also receive an email, and in the email, we'll have a link to that as well. But please remember, as Emily said, it changes very fast. So what we have now, that you may notice some differences even tomorrow. Oh, perfect. And Kat also dropped the link again into the chat. Thank you, Kat. Perfect. Typing Talk app also helps. Yeah, it's a great one, Marta. Thank you for sharing. So Kelly, Kelly has some questions about voice banking versus voice cloning considerations, pros and cons.
So they are both great options, and we usually, if someone is able to do both, I typically recommend doing both. It also depends on where you are in your journey. So if you have already lost your voice, and maybe you only have 10 seconds of old voicemails or 1 minute of old voicemails, then voice cloning might be the option that you would choose because you wouldn't have enough recorded audio for voice banking in that situation. Voice cloning uses AI in a way that makes the voice a little more realistic and authentic. It's almost identical to your voice. So it's a really authentic sounding voice, and it has more emotion and tone. However, you do have to have Wi-Fi or cellular data to use it. So you can often find ways to still use it when you're offline with a hotspot or with saved messages. But another option is using your banked voice during that time, because voice banking doesn't require Wi-Fi or cellular. And Kat did drop a handout in the chat, which probably says that way better than how I just explained it. So there are a lot of different options between voice banking and cloning, but if you can do both, I think doing both is a great safe bet.
Right. Someone just asked, is there a user guide for speech assistant?
Yes.
And the answer is yes. Yeah, if you just Google, if you go ahead and Google the user, Kat, I love. So Kat was our first team member to sign on to the training today, which is why Kat got voted the person to put all of the information in the chat for us, and she's doing a fabulous job. So thank you for that. Yes, there are a lot of speech guides. There are usually PDF guides, as well as a lot of YouTube videos and tutorials for most of these, the apps that Emily has on her list.
And Speech Assistant has the user guide in general settings of the app.
Thank you, Nachum. Sean, thank you for your kind comment. Sean says, very useful. I wish I had this resource at the beginning of my journey. Always a great training from Bridging Voice. Thank you, Sean. Does anybody else have any other questions? Oh, great. Here's another question from Marta. Marta says, I was hoping to see what app you use for phone calls. Um, Speech Assistant for iOS and Apple Personal Voice. Emily,
Mhm.
what can we use for Apple Personal Voice and communication
Yes.
app?
So Apple Personal Voice can be used in Speech Assistant and it can be used for phone calls as well. You can also use Live Speech, which is a free app. It's not even an app, it's a free setting within accessibility. But I do think that's only for English and actually, you know what? In the handout, it says which languages it's for. There are a lot of iOS apps, and we have them in the handout, and it says which ones are able to be used with audio for phone calls. Again, Android doesn't support that feature at this time. So if someone does use an Android, sometimes we'll recommend either putting their phone on speakerphone and then speaking it out loud. And it might not be as loud and as clear, but that is an option, or using an additional tablet to speak out loud with your phone on speaker for an Android.
Perfect. Lyle and Sue Johnson have a question. How do these apps correspond with a Tobii Dynavox type voice generating device? Do the apps lead to other or
Let's see. How do these apps correspond with the Tobii Dynavox type? Oh, so some of the apps are they have on the Tobii. So TD Talk, TD Snap, those are Tobii Dynavox apps that can be used on a Tobii Dynavox speech generating device. If someone has a TD Pilot, which is the iOS version of the Tobii speech generating device, you could use any app within the App Store. You would just have to pay for it. But if you already own the app from using beforehand, then you can continue using that app once you receive the TD Pilot.
so Sean said cloned voices don't work for calls typically.
They do within Speech Assistant now, and maybe predictable as well, which is exciting.
Mhm. Yeah, and Sean, that is a recent change that those are now available. Again, like we said, especially in the app world, things have changed so quickly. That is definitely an area where things have changed just to allow that access. Okay. Uh,
I have trouble downloading my my voice banked voice on my iPhone. I just can't. I don't know how to get my voice onto my phone. Is that a question that's already been asked? If it is, I'm sorry.
no, it is
Nope, it
not a
hasn't.
question that has, yeah, it is not a question. How are you planning to use it, Eric? That would be my first question for you.
I'm going to use this here, this one.
I am not able to see what
Speech Assistant.
that's speech assistant.
Yeah,
Is that
speech
speech
assistant.
assist?
Yes, it's
Okay.
speech assistant. Hmm. And I haven't been able to load my. It says to load a zip or to load a different file, and it doesn't allow me to do that. And then go into my phone and use my already banked voices.
Eric, are you already a client of Bridging Voice?
Yes.
Hey,
Okay.
Eric, I was going to
Yeah.
say, if you want to schedule a time to meet with me, I'll send you an email with the link to my calendar. We can get that squared away for you.
I'm sorry, I didn't know this was more of an advanced class.
No, not advanced at all, but this is just something that we can do personal in a personal meeting.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Oh, Joseph, you have a question. I see your hand raised. Please feel free to take yourself off mute if you would like.
Oh, here we go. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Thank you. Is there research as to which machines operate by decibel range or otherwise with which speech generation AI systems. I live in Texas and was told that I would be presented with several machines for using my AI voice, but I do not think that there was much consideration given to an AI cloned device. Is my question clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have, did you receive a device already, or were you recommended a device?
No, I was told that there would be several presentations of devices to me that I would then be able to choose from. And by the way, in case this directs you to a particular research program or a particular result, I have an Android phone, a Pixel 8.
Okay. Yeah, so there are a few, if you did 11 labs for voice cloning, SmartBox naturally integrates with it. Tobii Dynavox doesn't naturally integrate yet, but we have a program that allows you to use 11 labs with Communicator 5 and TD Snap. Mind Express, which is on a few different devices, also integrates with 11 Labs. So there are a few different devices. So if your speech pathologist comes out and shows you devices, any of those should work with your 11 Labs voice.
Okay. Will that list be updated? And if so, how quickly will it be done? And does this have anything to do with my using my Android Pixel 8 phone?
No, I think if you want to use your Android with the speech generating device, then that can also be done on any of those devices. You should be able to mirror it and use it on those devices. If you want to use 11 Labs with your Android phone, our handout will say which apps on your Android should work with 11 Labs. And I'm not sure if I'm answering that correctly. So Trinity, jump in if I'm not.
Yeah, so one thing to make sure that we're clear about is what Emily is talking about are apps, which are on an Android platform like your phone, or for example, on a Apple platform. But communication devices are a Windows-based platform. So those are separate. You can use your 11 Labs voice on a communication device, which is Windows based, or I also need to, I see Sean's face looking at me. Tobii Dynavox, as well as some of the other companies, also do have Apple based communication devices as well. Sean, I saw you giving me the eyebrows to remind myself of that. But these truly are two separate things. So Emily's talking about mobile apps, and what you're kind of referencing is a speech generating communication device. Those are really two different areas, and it is absolutely appropriate that you do get the chance when you're evaluating a speech generating device to have more than one option to try. But again, that's kind of a big question that needs to be delved into a little bit further.
With whom would you suggest I delve
Yeah, your
answer
speech
this question.
pathologist. Yeah, the speech
Um,
pathologist who's helping you work on getting the communication device. So if you're using, for example, your insurance funding, which is, I'm sure, how you're getting your communication device, your speech pathologist that's participating in these different device trials will be the one to help walk you through the feature matching and kind of the pros and cons about each communication device.
I'm sorry, but you made an assumption that was incorrect. I thought I stated earlier that this was a state grant program and insurance will not be used.
Even in your state grant program, in the STAP program through Texas, you still get the option to try multiple devices. Yeah,
Okay,
STAP, yeah. And
and
you still
will
have to have a speech pathologist sign off on that. So your speech pathologist will be able to work with that. But I want to
so
talk
I
about
did
this.
not have to come back to you.
Come back to us?
Yes.
No, nothing has to come back to us. You work with your speech pathologist in Texas who's helping you with the communication device, or anybody in any state. You have your speech pathologist that you're working with if you're going through, for example, a state program or through insurance. But if you do
Okay.
have further questions, you can reach out to us and we would be happy to discuss those on a more one-on-one basis. I do want to be
I'm sorry.
cognizant of time. No, you're fine. It's great. I do want to be cognizant of time, and I want to make sure Miss Beth, who happened to be in our training and shared with you, Beth, thank you so much for sharing your messages with us, said that she wanted to thank Emily for all of her assistance with the Speech Assistant app. So thank you, Emily, and thank you, Miss Beth. Perfect. Let's see. Someone had a question here. I expect to be in contact. Great. Yes, again, so please know that you're, working through the process of getting a communication device, like Emily said, is very individualized. And work with your speech pathologist, your ALS team. If you find that you need more support and more resources, you can reach out to us, info@bridgingvoice.org, or you can come to our open office hours, which is in 24 minutes from now. We would love to see you over there. And if anybody doesn't have any absolute pressing questions at this time, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up in just in the name of interest. And thank you all for joining us today. We very much appreciate it. If you are watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And please know that you are welcome to reach out to us with more questions, and be on the lookout for your follow-up email with a link to this presentation, as well as all of the information that Emily has shared with you will also be shared as well. Thank you for joining us, and I appreciate your time, and we will see you again soon.